What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
Damn, it feels good to say that again. I'm not going to lie. Welcome back to the show. Hope you all had a really great Christmas and holiday break. We enjoyed our break as well. Tonight, on our 55th episode, we are ranking all of the live-action Spider-Man films, starting with the Maguire trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man films, and the MCU's trilogy. And honestly, I kind of feel like this show was hijacked a little bit because I had planned. So, like, coming back from break, I had this like super easy chill. We're going to rank all the Spidey films. It's going to be really nice. And then over the last like 24 hours, Marvel has been blowing up with this multiverse stuff. I mean, there is so much that's come out about Multiverse of Madness and the Spider-Verse and Tobey and Andrew's future in the MCU. I mean, it's just, there's so many different things that have come out. So we're also going to talk about all of those updates, all the updates for Multiverse of Madness, everything moving forward. It's really starting to kind of look like Spider-Man No Way Home was just the beginning.
It was just the beginning of this entire
craziness. So we're going to get into all of that stuff. Before we do, Miguel, buddy, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Don't say that like that. You made it sound like I've been out of the loop.
Like you're a guest. No,
Yeah.
We both been out of the loop. We took a break, so
yeah.
But we're both back. So
yeah, we both of us took a break. It was very well deserved because we've had a whole year of just complete insanity of trying to keep up with all these movies. We got through it, so we took a little bit of a break, and now we're out here to do it again for another year. So let's get weird, guys.
And we're super excited about the next year. We've talked about that on the show before. There's so much stuff coming. There's so many incredible movies coming out in 2022. Just we're super stoked about the future of the show and the future of fandom and the future of all of this stuff that we talk about. So we're super happy to be back, and we're gonna hop right into this because it's crazy. Literally the last 2 hours. Here's how my afternoon has gone. So my wife is out of town right now, and the last 2 hours, like 2 hours ago, I heated up a frozen pizza. I sat at my dining room table. I redid the description for this video. I redid the title. I redid the thumbnail to include the multiverse stuff. And I was on Twitter. I was on YouTube. Like I was like scounging the internet for like all the information that I could find, all of the new stuff that's come out. There's some new insiders that are kind of new on the scene right now. That we'll kind of get to in a little bit that are giving a ton of new information. And of course, like you always have to, take this with a grain of salt because who knows if it's true or not, you know what I mean? Yeah, but a lot of these people, their track records have been incredible. And it's looking more and more like this is, like I said, No Way Home was the beginning, and we are only getting more wild from here. Like I thought we were just going to, have a couple of drinks, but instead we're taking shrooms. Apparently that's the direction that the MCU is going. So
all right, well, I can see where we can see that. I'm glad to know that like we're all getting really hyped again with even after No Way Home, because I know it was a little odd for me because after No Way Home it kind of felt like after I watched Endgame, like where do we go from here? There really isn't anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And it got me really excited whenever Hawkeye, the last season, I don't know if you guys have checked out, the Hawkeye television show. It's great.
It was
I recommend you guys watch it. And I was looking forward to the post-credit scene. And then they Ralph Bonered us. So that was great. But I thought that was the MCU saying like, "Hey, we gave you everything. Just take this. So we're taking a break too for a hot minute." But then all these news are coming out, so I was like, "Oh no, we're priming up again for next year." So we're excited. We're ready to talk about it.
Well, and I don't know, like I was kind of thinking about this earlier too, as I listen to, because we all have our. We don't have industry insider sources that talk to us, but I mean, obviously we have people that we watch and that we listen to and that we trust for information, and people that we read, people that we watch, people that we listen to. And there was kind of this feeling after Avengers Endgame, there was this feeling of like, that was the peak. There we go. Like, there's no way they can possibly top that. If this stuff really comes to fruition, this saga is going to make Infinity War and Endgame look minuscule.
No,
compared to what's
I
to
think
come.
they're gonna do everything they can to raise the bar in what we expect with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 100%.
I think we're
The way
raising the
they
bar a
are,
lot.
the way they are setting everything up and laying out the foundation for things to come. They are really going to set the bar. They're just as nervous as we are because I feel like they're pushing boundaries that we never thought we could. So that's
Well,
what makes this way a lot more exciting than, say, the Infinity Saga, because we didn't know where we were going at the time.
right.
This we have an idea. So
Well, and I don't know, not only that, but like I think they're pushing boundaries of cinema. Like there's never, we did an episode early on, over a year ago now. We can say over a year ago, about is Hollywood dead? Are there no new ideas? Do we just have to keep remaking things and remaking things? But here's the thing about what they're doing. They're pushing back, and I know some people are whatever about the MCU. Like some people don't care, and that's fine. We care because we've been Marvel people even long before the MCU. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I know I have all the horror shit, and like I'm a big horror guy, but like horror is here, Marvel is like here for me. Like I mean, we've been Marvel guys forever, and it's crazy to me because they are pushing the boundaries of filmmaking as well. Like when you're talking about bringing these characters back who played the character 15-20 years ago, Hugh Jackman, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, bringing back the Professor X characters, bringing back, the possibility of some of the old Fantastic Four members, which we're going to get to, from the original Fantastic Four, like 2004 or 5, somewhere in there, like original characters that you would think that how would they ever even come back? Like it's on the table. Like, and if you don't believe us, like go check other places. Like do your own research. Like go to YouTube, go to Twitter, which I know Twitter's not always a good resource, but there are things on Twitter that are good resources. And like this stuff is on the table, and it completely blows my mind at the idea of the fact that this could really happen. You know what I mean? That this could be real. So, and it's kind of funny because I saw today actually, and I wanted to bring this up. So 25 years ago today was when Marvel Comics filed for bankruptcy. 25 years ago today.
25 years ago?
25
You mean to
years
tell
ago.
me that Marvel went into bankruptcy like a year after I was born? That's fucking wild.
Yeah. And it's cool because like of course they had to sell out all the characters and source them out.
Yeah, so that was I said I had like a weird thought process with it. But it's almost as if we grew up with the Marvel with like Marvel just going through like literally everything to what it is now. Like I was thinking we were born like during like the start of it. Nah, fam, I was not born like 2000 and something. But I think it's insane that we basically like grew up with this new Marvel. We were able to grow up with what Marvel is now. And it's absolutely bonkers to think about like how much Marvel has gone through and how much it's had to like sacrifice just to stay afloat.
Right. But look at where it is now.
Exactly.
It's worth over
could
5 billion, and it's Marvel,
It could have honestly gone either way. Like it could have just went way worse than whenever it declared bankruptcy. It could have lost all of his property and we never would have been able to get the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the decisions they made was able to keep enough characters within their grasp to actually start a cinematic universe like we did. And obviously, I think there's a TV show, like I think there's a series on Disney Plus that talks about like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and how it came to fruition. I need to watch that because I know that'd be interesting to to get an idea as to what happened since the start of that bankruptcy situation. So I'd love to watch it. And yeah, 25 years ago, dude, that's fucking wild. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. And well, it's crazy because like, it sucks, but at the same time, knowing obviously I'm sure back then it felt like it was the end, but like knowing where we are now and seeing like how big of a company and how big the studio has gotten, it's amazing thinking about the fact that, it was they had to file for bankruptcy because they had nothing. But at the same time, that's what gave us Tobey's movies. That's what gave us the early Fantastic Four movies, which I liked the original 2 Fantastic Four movies. I didn't mind them at all. Like, I actually kind of enjoy them. That's how you got the Nick Cage Ghost Rider. Like, that's how you got a lot of those different things. So looking now and looking at where we are now, it's mind-blowing to think that that this is where we are, that this is it's crazy, man. As a Marvel fan, it makes me go crazy. And it's the same exact feeling I had, like, looking at all of this stuff break, all of this news break, all of these rumors, watching everybody talk, watching Marvel Studios and Marvel and MCU and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all these different things trend on Twitter over the last few hours. Like, it's remarkable to me. And it gets me so excited, and like that, like, jittery, excited feeling I get is like what made me want to start this show. You know what I mean? This is what made us want to start this show, was Disney Investor Day. We've talked about that before. So it's pretty wild. So let's do this first. Let's talk the multiverse stuff first. Is that good? Are you good with that? Okay. So before we get into our ranking, let's talk about what we know. So obviously, in the post-credit scene for Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up the spoiler warning. I think most people have. Whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. Pretty sure most people have seen Spider-Man No Way Home, but if you have not, here's the spoiler warning. It is up on the screen right now. Before we get into our ranking, there was a post-credit scene of Tom Hardy from the Venom universe, which we'll get into what I was about to say in a minute. From that universe, sitting at a bar. We know the post-credit scene from Venom Let There Be Carnage, in that Tom Hardy is sitting at a bar in wherever, I forget exactly where he is, far away from New York, to say the least. He's not anywhere near New York. And he's talking about, he wants to go to New York. He wants to find the Spider-Man guy. Him and Venom are kind of going back and forth and whatever. And of course, at the moment when Doctor Strange sends all of the villains back to their universes, and Tobey and Andrew go back, Tom Hardy gets sent back to his universe, but a piece of the Venom symbiote gets left behind in the MCU, in our current MCU timeline. And we're not going to include Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage in this ranking. At least I didn't, Miguel. I don't think you did either, did you?
No, I didn't, but
I know I've seen a lot of people that have been including them, but I'm not there yet because we don't. It's crossed over with Spider-Man, but it hasn't really crossed over with Spider-Man yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I didn't include the Venom series mainly because Spider-Man isn't in it. You know what I mean? Like, why am I going to include something that doesn't have Spider-Man? So, with that being said, I'm curious, did you even add the Spider-Verse stuff, like the Into the Spider-Verse?
No, that's why I wanted to just keep it live action, because that's what that relates to this whole multiverse discussion. But long story short, we didn't include them. But one of the crazy rumors right now that's going around is that Tom Hardy's Venom, and that incarnation of Eddie Brock, is actually a part of the Amazing Spider-Man universe. And there's actually been a few different nods to that. And I do believe that Andrew Garfield's Spidey is going to fight Venom. There's been a lot of talk right now about the future of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. We know that they went back and reshot part of the ending battle scene in Spider-Man No Way Home, where they're at the Statue of Liberty. And presumably, they were talking about this on Phantom Empire this morning as well. I believe Tobey was actually supposed to die when he was stabbed by Norman Osborn at the end. He was supposed to die. That was supposed to be the end. But my guess, my speculation, again, we don't know this for sure. I think that Sony and Disney went back and said, hey, you have a future with this. Like, are you willing to come back and do multiple projects as Spider-Man? And of course, Tobey and Andrew both said yes, because they love the character. And I believe that is the reason they did not kill Tobey off. That's why that scene kind of feels weird to me. I almost feel like, as much as I loved No Way Home, Tobey and Andrew kind of like the their closing scene was just kind of abrupt. Like the hug was cool, it was sweet, it was sentimental, but then it's just like boom, they're gone. And I felt like that was kind of like sudden. So I think they purposely kept Toby alive, because if you kill him, if you kill him in this universe, he's dead in all the universes. He'll never go back. That would have been terrible. Honestly, that would have been a terrible ending because he would have never gotten back to his universe. You know what I mean? MJ would have been, Kirsten Dunst would have just been upset for the rest of her life, not knowing where he went.
Nah, she would have found another boyfriend, no doubt.
I actually just watched Spider-Man 3 today. I had started it the week of. I watched Tobey's first and second film, and I got like a third of the way through Spider-Man 3 before we went and saw No Way Home, and then I actually like finished it today while I watched. So,
okay, I got you. Well, but how can I say this? I've kind of like gone into the rabbit hole with like how they thought they were going to try to kill Tobey Maguire. Honestly, it would have made sense, but I know mainly that's like fan fear, I guess. Because I know the entire fan service would be absolutely livid if they found out Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker dies.
Well, and I feel like they're smart though, because they know, obviously, like I would be down. It makes sense. At first I was like, I don't like it. But it makes sense that Venom is a part of the Amazing Spider-Man universe. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And there's even been speculation that Morbius, because we straight up see Tobey's Spider-Man in the Morbius trailer, like hands down. There's been speculation that Morbius is a part of the Raimi universe, but my only gripe with that is not only did we see the Amazing Spider-Man Oscorp tower, but he also even literally drops a Venom reference, like Tom Hardy's Venom reference in the trailer. So I don't know how I feel about that yet. There may be some screwy stuff with Morbius as well that kind of, we don't know when that takes place. I mean, who knows who gets sucked out of what universe and whatever at the end of that movie too. Who's to say none of that happens? But I think they're smart, and they really opened up a can of worms, because it's like you went there and you brought Toby and Andrew back, and people are just gonna be like, they're gonna be like Kylo Ren in the is it The Last Jedi, where he's like more, and he's just like going crazy or whatever. Like I feel like that's how people are now. Like they just want more. They just want more and more and more and more, more and more and more. But here's the thing: is I think Multiverse of Madness is going to deliver on that. I think the crazy thing about this is that Marvel is actually about to deliver on people wanting more, and I think it's going to be more, even in a way that we never expected it to be.
I hope so, and I really do. I think we all had like a relatively like justifiable like fear of how they were going to handle No Way Home because of the amount of cast and how widespread that was. Like Endgame was just different, but this one was it was connecting two different all three franchises of Spider-Man and putting them together, and that's never been done, so to speak, if I'm correct. So with Multiverse of Madness, you are literally talking about different universes. So, and if they think they're going to bring in way more people and connect all the universes, so, quote unquote, from the Marvel, franchises, is it going to be too much? And is it going to confuse your normal audience viewers? Because that's something I was concerned with at No Way Home. But nevertheless, a lot of people enjoyed the movie, whether you kept up with the entire like MCU like storyline. I was kind of fearful that some normal fan viewers weren't going to understand it. But I mean, as you could see, like we brought people that did not know the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they loved the movie. Right. And that was great. That was great to hear. When they told me that, I was like, yo, that makes me feel a lot better with how they're going, how was like the future of the MCU now, because not only do we love what we're watching, but your normal viewers are loving it too. So that makes it all the more exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because we haven't even had a chance to talk about this because of how much stuff has been breaking like over the last few hours and days. And we haven't really gotten to talk that much the last few days, honestly. So this movie is shaping up to be a world breaker of a movie. Yes, that was pun intended, by the way. I feel like when I first saw the trailer after No Way Home ended, when we first saw the Multiverse of Madness teaser trailer, I was like, the first thing I thought is, wow, there's a lot of that resembles what they did in What If. Do you almost think What If could be a rough outline? Rough outline. Like a very rough outline of like what we could see in Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, if you there, I mean, that was something that was like the first thing people like made connections with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and the What If storyline.
Yeah.
Because if you were to like take stills from the trailer and stills from the show from What If, it's very close. But one thing that I think will be interesting is, again, like we've crossed the threshold, from the one above all, of anything that's linear in the MCU. So that being said, I think it could be from the same like storyline of What If, but it could be another What If storyline.
Right. And I think they're going to pull aspects. I don't think that's going to be the full storyline because there's especially after hearing all these rumors. One of the big questions with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, obviously we know there's going to be an evil Doctor Strange. We know Wanda is going to play a part. A lot of rumors suggest that Wanda will be the big baddie of Multiverse of Madness. A lot of rumors still point to a possibility of Mephisto being a part of that.
Where the fuck did Mephisto come from?
I don't know, but people are hopping back on the train.
That to me, bro. Like, fuck off, guys, for that.
I think a lot of stuff is pointing to Shuma Gorath as a huge villain. It's a big multiversal Doctor Strange villain. Honestly, I would need to look into it more. Doctor Strange was never a character that I was like super into as a kid, but I'm starting to be like, a lot more interesting. Like I'm starting to want to dive more into his character. But I know Shuma Gorath is a multiversal villain, so it makes sense. Basically trying to get from what I understand, Shuma Gorath wants to be able to travel through every universe freely. And basically, I guess, cause havoc.
It's the monster in the trailer that has like the eye with the tentacles.
Yes, and if you think about this, look at What If. That was teased in What If a few times too. Look at the thing Captain Britain, is that what her name was, or is it just, I don't know, whatever her name was?
Captain Carter, dumbass.
But did they actually call her Captain Carter?
It's Captain Carter.
Okay, whatever. I didn't know if they actually call her Captain Carter.
What'd you call her, Captain Britain?
I don't know. Whatever the hell, whatever. But the thing that Captain Carter fights in one of the earlier What If episodes, when she takes Steve's place as Captain America, that thing she was fighting, I believe that was a nod to Shuma Gorath. So there's kind of
that was Shuma Gorath.
It probably was, and I think there are some obvious nods to that. Of course, there's like Norman Reedus was just trending because a lot of people are saying there's a rumor that he has been cast as Ghost Rider, which makes sense. I've seen a lot of discussion about what if Wanda is trying to get her kids back from whatever universe and she's pulling in demons, she's traveling through universes. Like the thing about this is there are so many different directions that this can go that it's almost like nauseating to try to sit and figure it out. I mean, it would be like a full-time job to sit and try to figure all this out. So what are your kind of like expectations for the plot and the main villain and this course of events in Multiverse of Madness? Because I don't think it's just going to be the spell from No Way Home that's caused all of these issues. You know what I mean?
No, I think let me give me a second, because honestly, I know that in the trailer they pretty much said like there was nothing I could do, blah 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 blah, about the spell that he used for Peter Parker. But I think that, at least from my knowledge, I think it will take part. I think that spell will take a huge part of it.
I agree.
I think in the beginning, but I think that honestly, it may be a case of just what Loki and all them did, honestly, because we still have not seen the ramifications of that. And I think Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to delve into everything that transpired since WandaVision, because obviously Doctor Strange knows Wanda is, she's pretty much gone through she's pretty much started this whole thing with just with Westview. That's the name. Is it West Point or Westview?
Westview.
Westview. Okay, because I know Doctor Strange said he wasn't concerned with Westview, but that was an important moment, and the fact that nobody still knows about what transpired in the Loki series, I think that's definitely something that needs to be talked about soon. It has to be talked about. Doctor Strange, Wong, anyone else, Mordor needs to know what happened. So I think that will take part as well. And I think Mordor is the one. Do you know who I'm talking about? Who Mordor is? Do I have the name right? Okay,
yes. Honestly, I think the Loki thing is going to become more prevalent in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which we're going to come back to that in a minute, because there's a wild rumor that ties back into that film as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if that's the case, if what transpired with Loki is going to happen in Quantumania, it's kind of weird for me to still be excited for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because it doesn't. It seems like it's not going to be the end all. It's just another thing that happens in the multiverse that is gonna continually collapse the multiverse. You know what I mean? I feel like what Doctor Strange is about to do in this movie is just going to send much more of a frenzy to the multiverse than what we have already seen with WandaVision and Loki and No Way Home now.
I think that this is the perfect storm. I think what happened in No Way Home, what is about to happen in Multiverse of Madness, what happened in WandaVision, what happened in Loki, what's about to happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because it makes sense for a lot of the Loki stuff to be prevalent in Quantumania, because it's been completely confirmed that Kang is the main villain in Quantumania. So I mean, that makes sense. I'm curious to see Ant-Man and the Wasp versus Kang. That's going to be a very interesting combination. But
I think the way it's going to go is it's going to be TWA. Is it the TWA tech versus Pim tech? Pretty much, I can almost see that happening. You know what I mean?
TVA? You mean TVA?
TVA, yeah, TVA. Yeah. What the fuck is a TWA? No, nonetheless, I think it just
sounds like an agreement you have to sign, when you marry somebody that you're unsure about.
Right? Yeah,
that sounds like something like that.
But I think that's literally. I think Quantumania is just gonna be a battle of the tech, pretty much, because Hank Pym and Scott, they are the ones that literally created time travel. They're the ones that were able to figure out. Okay, no, Tony Stark figured out time travel. Okay, Tony Stark built time travel, but it was thanks to Hank Pym and his theory of quantum physics and traveling and going small. And with that being known, honestly, Hank Pym is one of the last tech geniuses that we have. So it's gonna be about basically him against Kang, and it's gonna be about his tech against what Kang can do. And obviously, you've seen their tech, so and how they can jump from universe to universe. So, and that was before multiverse broke. They were able to travel through different universes before the multiverse collapse, before the linear, what's it called? What was it? The
sacred
timeline. Before the sacred timeline broke, they were able to jump through different universes and destroy universes. So I think that would be an important thing to that. I feel like that's an important tech that's going to be it's going to be discussed more in Quantumania, because we've already been explained how the TVA is able to do it. Now we're probably going to see how Hank Pym and Scott are going to be able to do the same thing, replicate it, but with Pym tech, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
Because you see how much Pym tech is being.
It is being used a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's being used a lot more now. Fuck a Stark Tech, no. Stark Tech's starting to sound like a Duracell battery to me.
Reactor anymore. That's old school. But so the other thing that we have to talk about here, though, and this is kind of where things get interesting. And let me rewind a second. You know, you kind of described Multiverse of Madness as being like did you think Multiverse would be like Multiverse of Madness would be like the end of this multiverse stuff?
I feel like it would be a climactic part of.
See, I don't think so. I think it's, for me at least, in my kind of speculation, what I'm thinking. I'm thinking No Way Home.
We both thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be the end all. And
I did at one point, but not anymore. Thinking about everything we know, thinking about these rumors, I think No Way Home is a tease, like just a tease of the tongue for what is to come. And Multiverse of Madness and Multiverse of Madness is going to be like the springboard. I think this multiverse thing is going to be a very complicated interwoven storyline that lasts a long time. I do think that we are moving towards Secret Wars. I don't know how I know nobody said it. Nobody like wants to say it like officially, but I feel like, and not for a long, long time. I mean, this is going to be the next Endgame level thing, but I think Secret Wars is what we're moving towards. And this even kind of goes back to Toby and Andrew. If they're going to do the Amazing Spider-Man 3, if they're going to do Spider-Man 4, I think they need to use them wisely. They don't need to just give them another movie and be done. If you're going to keep Toby and Andrew as recurring characters, I want to see them. I want them used. I want them completely used. And this kind of leads us into the next part of this discussion, Miguel, which is where do you have alcohol in front of you? Because you might need it.
No, I don't.
So rumored
sober.
Rumored characters for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Toby is now expected to show up because we know via a Hollywood Reporter article from 5 days ago. I'm actually going to let me get this link right here. I have the article pulled up. I'm going to take that link and I'm going to post it in the chat. So via this article, we actually knew that and we knew this a while ago. We reported on this. They have been doing extensive reshoots for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Benedict Cumberbatch, a few different crew members said that they're working 6 days a week to do these reshoots. 6 weeks, I believe, was the timeline, but I don't know if it's gone past that. I'm not sure exactly how this fits into the timeline with everything going on with the pandemic, with the holidays. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing this. But when you do 6 weeks of reshoots and like 6 days a week, you're not redoing a couple scenes. You're redoing the movie. Like, you are reshooting the freaking film. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think they're reshooting it. Reshooting like the entire movie.
I mean, not literally the entire movie.
Yeah, no, well, I think that they're pretty much just like adding like all of like, the spoilery things.
I think they're changing a lot.
I think they're just adding people pretty much. Because it's the same thing as like with like Sandman and the Lizard. Because I think due to scheduling conflict, they weren't able to be in the movie, but they had to pretty much do some reshoots so it could make sense. They had to add different type. They had to they spliced some scenes from fucking Spider-Man 3.
I know.
I know
what I mean? They did do that.
So I think that's something they did in reshoots. So hold on.
God bless you.
Anyways,
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but I think that these reshoots are pretty much just like them like slipping in all the people that they want, like they are rumored to be in. I think all the reshoots are pretty much like them splicing in all of these characters inside the movie.
I just don't know. Here's the thing. So Toby is rumored to appear in Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Don't know why, don't know how, but he's rumored to appear. We know Wanda's going to appear. I'm about to send you a picture. This came. I don't want to say wrong. I'll have to check it out. I'm not gonna say where I think I got it from. I got it from Twitter, but I don't believe. I don't want to give a name because I don't know if that's exactly where I got it. I just want to be sure. So we've heard the rumors that there are characters from the Fox X-Men universe still supposed to appear. That this is the movie where they're going to introduce the X-Men. But there are also rumors that this is the movie where they are going to introduce the Illuminati. And that Professor X and possibly Hugh Jackman and Namor and a ton of other characters are going to be in the Illuminati. So what I just sent you, I can't show it on screen. We're not that risky. What I just sent you, Miguel, is a supposed picture of Xavier in his chair. Doctor Strange has been taken to the Illuminati, it appears, for what he's done. Doctor Strange is not a part of the Illuminati. The amount of characters that are rumored to appear in this movie is astounding. Almost to the point of, is it too much? Like, is it going to be too much to have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and what's his name? The guy who played Professor X all those years. What's his name?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, yes.
You're gonna knock down the legend like that.
I mad respect. I couldn't remember his name. There's even rumors of characters from the original Fantastic Four films. I mean, I saw somebody, they were like, everybody would shit bricks if suddenly Chris Evans appeared and opened his eyes and just went, flame on. and he was the Human Torch. Like, it's insane. Like, is it too much? I don't know. And on like the nerd inside of me is like freaking out of excitement, but like this, like the serious movie fan inside of me is like, whoa, like guys, like
yeah,
like what are we doing here? Like, how far are we getting ready to push this thing? Like, are we going to be bringing in Nick Cage's Ghost Rider? Like, are we going to go OG Fantastic Four? Or, I mean, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
I think I 100% believe that the Fantastic Four is going to be rebooted. They're not going to be Multiverse of Madness. I'm 100% certain. Unless, like, if they are, it's going to be a new cast.
Right.
Yeah. So in my head, I was thinking like the old cast, like you're correct, like Chris Evans and fucking
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah. Like all of them. And don't get me wrong, whoever played Reed Richards in
Jessica
Fantastic
Alba.
Four, who played Reed Richards?
He's got a weird name. Let me look.
But he did a pretty good job as Reed
Richards.
Oh yeah,
I liked him a lot.
Yeah,
I liked him a lot.
But I was thinking like it would be nice to see him like back, you know, donning the suit again. But then you would have to bring Chris Evans back and all of them back, and that just wouldn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, Ian Gruff.
You better give up.
I don't know. It's a strange. I think it's Ian Gruffudd. I believe that's how you say it. But yeah, he did a great job. Like I thought he did like a pretty decent job as Reed Richards. But the question here is, where do you draw the line? Like, I know there was rumors of Wanda fighting Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. There are rumors of Wanda fighting Professor X now. Where do you draw the line? Like, I don't know. It's cool. It's crazy. But at the same time, I don't want them to just throw the kitchen sink at the wall and expect all of it to stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it still has to make sense for this story. And I know that was a fear for No Way Home, and they knocked it out of the park with Spider-Man No Way Home. So, and they did a great job. So, again, I think it's possible. Don't get me wrong. But I also think that there is a lot that can go wrong. What do you think about this, like, multiversal Illuminati idea of, like, the Illuminati finds Strange from another universe?
I think that would be pretty dope because it would then, because instead of it just being like Doctor Strange and Supreme Sorcerer Doctor Strange like battling, like they meet up, our Doctor Strange finds Supreme Doctor Strange, and like Doctor Strange is literally about to get himself like sucked in, and all of a sudden the Illuminati catches him and pulls him away, and then explains the situation. That would be absolutely dope, because and then make a storyline where like Supreme Doctor Strange like broke apart from the Illuminati because he's trying to, you know, bring back his.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah, so like
that's
I think that would be much more intricate than the What If series, because obviously that's just based on like, you know, Doctor Strange's grief of losing you know, his girlfriend. So I think doing that in the storyline, that would be an interesting concept to go through, because it would make sense for that picture you sent me, which by the way, like the fuck, it didn't really, bro, it was literally like a mix match of Marvel's Avengers 2, X-Men, Star Trek, and like Event Horizon that we just saw. Like it's like fucking weird.
So in this picture I sent Miguel, Doctor Strange is in, you know, these futuristic looking handcuffs, but did you see who's holding on to him?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's 2 Iron Man suits.
No, it's not.
There was a rumor.
It's not Iron Man suits, dude.
There is a rumor that Tom Cruise stepped away from Mission Impossible like 364 for a minute to go to Atlanta. I swear, if I see Tom Cruise as a variant of Tony Stark, I'm getting up and I'm walking out of the movie theater. I just don't like that. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, nobody else. I don't want to see anybody else take on Tony Stark. Even if it's this multiverse thing and it's like wild, don't want to. Sorry. I don't want to see it.
Those are not Iron Man armors.
I don't know. I don't know.
Bro,
that could be completely fake. That could be 100% fake. But I saw it earlier and I was like, I'm going to send this to him. Again, we're not going to show it on here. I'm sorry to blue ball you like that. But we're not going to show it on here because we don't want to get that. I don't know. I don't want to. We'll talk about it, but I don't want to feed into that.
Let me explain the fucking picture real quick. So yeah, you do have Doctor Strange, you have Charles Xavier, and they're in a room. There's some other like character that I can't really tell. It looks like Mordor. It could be.
I think it's Mordo.
Yeah. And obviously Doctor Strange has some type of like handcuffs on him that's probably like dwindling his powers or whatever. But the 2 metallic characters that are like next to Doctor Strange doesn't make sense to me. He says those are Iron Man suits. Bro, that is dead ass Ultron minions.
These people. Are we about to see Ultron come back now? Like, what is going on? Like, that's what I'm saying. There's so many different directions.
Those are dead ass Ultron minions, but the color of their eyes are like not Ultron. It's like greenish, so it doesn't make any sense. Oh fuck, well fuck it. It could be Doctor, what's his fucking face? You know what I'm talking about? In the What If show? It could have been him. It could be him. Who the fuck knows? Oh, that'd be dope if he's in the Illuminati. I'm not gonna lie, because I actually liked him. I actually liked him. So if he's in the Illuminati instead of like, you know, T'Challa, because you know, R.I.P. fam. But if he's in that, cool. I'm alright with that. Like honestly, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. If you think about it, like I could see like the MCU Illuminati consists of Doctor Strange, Charles Xavier, Reed Richards, fucking the scientist. And did I say Doctor Strange again already?
Sure.
Yeah, like and Namor, sure. Like I could totally see all of them being like the Illuminati.
Namor would be weird though, because I thought Namor was supposed to appear in Wakanda forever.
He is, but he's in the Illuminati.
It'd be kind of weird for him to just show up and be a part of the Illuminati though in Multiverse of Madness. I think that'd be kind of a weird introduction to him.
I'm saying it right now. The Black Panther, which by the way, fucking rip the next Black Panther movie. But I don't have any idea about it. Have you not heard what's going on with Black Panther?
I mean, I know it got shut down for a little bit. I know Letitia Wright said some things that maybe she shouldn't have. I don't know.
She's no longer in the movie. Letitia's out. So
is that why this whole recast T'Challa thing is happening?
Yeah, which honestly I'm okay with now.
Well,
because here's the
you gotta
thing.
make up your mind, though. People were like, do not recast him, do not recast him, do not recast him, do not recast him. Now it's been trending all day, and they're like, recast T'Challa, do him justice. I'm like, what? Like, where did that come from? Like,
because
I guess it came from that.
Mad respect to Letitia. Like, I don't know what her fucking reason is behind not going.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was like COVID or injury or something like that, but literally, like, I know for a fact when that movie comes out, I'm not going to be upset if it's not good, because the director of this other sequel for Black Panther is getting the shaft left and right with COVID. He did not anticipate Chadwick Boseman's death, and Letitia's over here like, you know, fucking things up, and like, yeah, his entire
Serkis directing it.
No, Andy Serkis isn't directing. He was just a side character. Yeah, the director is literally getting shafted like left and right with the making of this movie.
Directed by Ryan Coogler. Oh, I remember that, Ryan Coogler. Yeah.
Like Ryan Coogler is getting shafted left and right, and I feel for him because he has a huge amount of pressure to like do right by this movie.
Yeah.
And the way it's happening right now, like at this point, just to help him out, the fans are like, recast Chadwick Boseman, at least do that.
No, I remember what it was. It was that interview. We covered that like a long time ago. Andy Serkis did an interview about it, and he said this is like Wakanda Forever is ambitious. Like it's like a really big thing for the MCU. Like it's like got a lot of it's one of the stranger things that they've done.
Yeah, but that after that interview, Letitia, something happened to her and she's out. And she was supposed to be the next Black Panther.
I didn't know that. I know. Yeah. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
So either they recast Letitia or they recast Chadwick Boseman and they go with that storyline. I don't know. So that's what I mean. Like when that movie comes out, like I'm not going to be critical with them. Like I'm just going to be there to see like what the hell they did, because Ryan Coogler literally has had the shit in the stick the entire time, and I feel for him honestly, because I know that's a tough amount of pressure that he has on him. And
for sure,
because like he didn't anticipate any of this to happen. So, and I don't know what Kevin Feige and MCU and Disney is doing to help him out, but it seems like he's just like shed of luck on his own. So that's why there's like this huge petition just to recast T'Challa, just to help him out. Just say, here, look, we'll give you T'Challa. We'll give you T'Challa back. Like, go ahead, recast him. Make your original story what you're going to do before his untimely death. Like, just do what you can, because we don't want you to, you know, not fail, but we don't want you to not have the chance to land the story that you want to land because of all of these unfortunate events, which I think is pretty dope.
I was just confused because again, I saw this morning actually that people were doing. I forget what exactly the hashtag was, but I remember when Chadwick died, unfortunately, and he was so amazing, man. What a fantastic actor, and what a huge loss to Hollywood and to, you know, the art form. But like I remember people saying, do not recast him. Like, find a way to fit his death into the story. And when I saw today that everybody is calling on them to just go ahead and recast him, I was like, what? Where did that, like, what? I mean, I wasn't even mad. Like I'm kind of indifferent. Like I want them to handle it the way they think it'll serve the story best, because like at the end of the day, that's what I'm about. Like I want it to serve the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even all this like this multiverse stuff. Like if you're gonna bring the X-Men in, if you're gonna bring the Illuminati in, if you're gonna bring back Toby and Andrew and everybody from their universes, and if you're gonna bring back all of these different characters from all of the Marvel movies before Iron Man in 2008, if you're going to do that, serve the story. Don't just bring him back for a 2-second cameo. Like, and I've said this all along, if you're going to, especially Toby and Andrew, because I mean, let's be real, other than Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, they're the two that have the most emotional weight, you know? If you're going to bring those characters back, Use them wisely. Don't make it a cameo. Don't just make it fan service. Use them. Use Toby and Andrew for Secret Wars. Use the X-Men for Secret Wars. Now, I don't know at Hugh Jackman's age, at what's his name, Professor X. I don't know
Bro, I
why
swear
his
to
name
God,
keeps
Hugh
escaping
Jackman
me.
cannot keep that body right now. I'm just saying.
But
or at least
them.
he's not willing to keep the body of fucking Wolverine right now. He's not willing to do it.
Halle Berry is Storm. I thought Halle Berry was a phenomenal Storm. Thought she was great. Does she want to keep playing Storm though? You know what I mean? Like,
and well, I mean, if you look at No Way Home,
Ben Affleck as Daredevil,
everyone was excited. No, fuck Daredevil.
I know, but I'm saying the possibilities are out there, Miguel.
No,
the possibilities are out there.
No,
everything is on the table.
No, I think if you think about all of the beloved characters and the old, Fox and Sony Marvel products, like those are definitely ones I would consider, like Storm, Wolverine, Charles Xavier,
Magneto,
Jean Grey, at least. Like,
Jean Grey was perfect
dope
too.
Characters that we would love to see.
Both incredible.
Huh?
Her and Cyclops were both incredible in the original X-Men films.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that when it comes to those, yeah, I would definitely love to see them again. But all the other ones, like, no, recast them.
Well, I don't know. Like, it's just got to serve the story. That's the thing.
Here, I'll be right back, guys.
You're good. All Take your time. It has to serve the story. If what you're doing is not serving the story that you are trying to tell, I feel like then there's no point. There's no point bringing these characters back. I'm fine with Toby. I'm fine with Andrew. I think the Spider-Verse thing is so big in pop culture right now. Not even just with No Way Home. I mean, look at what they did with the Into the Spider-Verse films. I mean, the Into the Spider-Verse films were a huge cultural phenomenon. I mean, I know we've only had one, but now we have Across the Spider-Verse, which is getting ready to happen. It makes sense for them to come back. But when you're thinking about the X-Men, the original X-Men films, I'm not even talking about Days of Futures Past and those films, Dark Phoenix, which of course I guess technically, honestly, with their age, I would almost think bring in those versions of those characters. I guess they're variants, you could call them. But I would almost think bring those versions of those characters in rather than the older version, the Hugh Jackmans, the Halle Berrys, those characters, because of their age. It makes more sense with their age. But again, if they want to come back, more power to them. If Hugh Jackman wants to come back and continue playing Wolverine, more power to him. And I'm sure, they look at what's happened with Tobey Maguire. They look at what's happened with Andrew Garfield. And I mean, shoot, again, all the cards are on the table here. I mean, let's be real. Literally every burner is on right now. And I feel like there's something cooking. Like, even if we can't see it, even if we don't know, it's happening. Like, it's happening. You know what I mean? There are so many things going on. I feel like Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home was the tease. Spider-Man No Way Home was the tease of what is possible. It opened the door and it opened the can of worms to not only to show what Toby and Andrew can do, but I think even to those actors, even to Hugh Jackman, to all of the original X-Men actors, to the original Fantastic Four actors, I think it opened the door for them to even see, like, wow, like, this is big. You know what I mean? Look at all the love that Toby's getting. Look at all the love that Andrew's getting. I think it's important to, it even probably opens the door for them to be like, wow, this is legit. Like, we could do this. You know what I mean? We could make this happen. We're going to get some love from this. I think it's pretty cool. So I think it's really, really neat to see this coming to fruition, to see this really happening. Again, it's like the Kylo Ren thing, more, that's just what people want, I think. And I think we are moving towards Secret Wars. Dude, I mean, what if, guys, let me know if you're watching after the fact. Let me know in the comments, because what if we really move towards even a young Avengers versus the X-Men? I mean, there's so many different things. Secret Wars is obviously the big version of this. Secret Wars is the crazy endgame level event that we're moving towards. But I think there's the question here is, what is going to come before that? What is going to come before Secret Wars happens? Obviously, No Way Home, you have Multiverse of Madness, but what comes after Multiverse of Madness and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? And I know that's kind of a strange question, because, like, excuse me, that's a strange question, because you have to think, like, the events of those films are going to dictate what happens, obviously. And we're going to have your Hawkeyes, you're going to have, your Black Widows, your standalone films that aren't really related to the whole multiverse thing, but things that are kind of that are just kind of interspersed in, because obviously the multiverse thing isn't the only thing happening throughout the Marvel universe. There are other things going on as well. So it's just crazy, man. It's so unbelievable. I don't know. We just went down a whole long wormhole of what we were talking about with Multiverse of Madness. And I know we're kind of waiting on Miguel to get back here too. So, but it's been crazy, man. It's been absolutely wild to watch this come to fruition, to watch this,
did you say you missed me?
I did miss you a whole lot. To speculate on this, to sit here and speculate about the fact that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is going to be in Multiverse of Madness, and the original characters from X-Men and the original Marvel films are going to be coming back. It's just, it's unbelievable, man. It's crazy to think about all of that stuff happening. Wow, Miguel, I'm really glad you're back, because I just talked a whole lot. I was just like word vomit, what I just said right now.
No, you're fine. I'm sure you did fine, dude. But yeah, what else we got?
So let's do this. Let's switch over to our ranking.
Okay.
Of all of the live action Spider-Man films. So we can kind of do these as I had these like warm-up questions kind of thing. We can skip them, go straight to the ranking, whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Let's do the rankings, because I'm more interested in just seeing what your ranks are, because you were prepping me for this entire thing at this point, because you were having trouble with it.
Okay, this is really hard to rank all of the, and again, we're just doing the live action films. We're not including Venom. We're not including Into the Spider-Verse or any of the cartoons. We're not doing any of that. This is just the live action Spidey films. And it's hard because there are really no bad live action Spider-Man films. You know what I mean? There's none that are bad. Yeah. They're all really great, and they all do justice to the character. So this is kind of selfish for me, and this is kind of tailored to what I like and what I want out of my Spider-Man movie.
That's what a ranking is.
So I know. So let's do this. Let's start at number 8, because there's 8 of them. You have the Tobey trilogy, Amazing Spider-Man, and then the Tom Holland trilogy. So number 8. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Here, you go first.
Coming in at number 8 for me is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I can see a trend now at this point with your list.
Now, again, this is not to say that I think Spider-Man: Homecoming is bad. I think the introduction of Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU in Civil War was awesome. I think it was a really cool way to introduce him. And Homecoming kind of felt like a good beginning to his story.
Mm-hmm.
My only thing with Homecoming is it felt... Here's my gripe, really, and honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say my number 7 too. My number 7 is Far From Home. And the reason I put Homecoming and Far From Home at the bottom of this list is because I kind of feel like they're good MCU entries. I think they do the character justice. I think they do the MCU justice and everything that's happening in that universe. But I don't think that they give me exactly what I want out of a Spider-Man movie. When I think Spider-Man films, I think swing through New York City. I think the love angle. I think, you know, a good Peter Parker story. And it almost felt like Far From Home and Homecoming relied so much on Tony Stark and on Happy and on the events of Civil War and on all of this stuff and him wanting to be an Avenger. It almost felt like it was pulled in too many other directions and it didn't focus as much on like the Spider-Man aspect. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that, and I'm sure everyone understands it. But I think like after No Way Home, like I feel like the previous two movies, the perspective definitely changed on me, I would say.
Oh yeah, and I do think Far From Home. I think they've stepped up every single MCU Spidey entry. They've stepped up. I mean, I think Homecoming. I honestly, I would rank it like of those three, pretty much in the opposite order they came out. No Way Home, Far From Home, Homecoming.
As you should.
For those three.
As every trilogy should, honestly.
Right. I mean, they felt more and more like Spider-Man films. Far From Home was really good, actually. And this is kind of one of my main gripes with both MCU Spider-Man films, or well, Homecoming and Far From Home. There's three now. There wasn't very much web swinging until No Way Home. The only like web swinging through New York City we got was at the tail end when he's swinging MJ through. You know, and that was kind of like whatever. They had this kind of teenage angst thing going on, which. Again, it makes sense. It's his teenage trilogy. It's his high school trilogy. But they're the kind of bottom two that are on my list. So I did my number 8 and number 7. So what are your number 8 and number 7, Miguel?
All right. So in regards to my order, I would say at number 8 is going to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1, the original. Yeah.
What?
It's not a rank. It's not saying it's bad. God. I'm saying the same thing for you, Chief.
You put that last?
Yeah.
You put that? What the fuck? What the hell is wrong with you? You put that last?
Yeah. Is it better if I tell you that my number 7 is definitely Homecoming?
You serious?
Are you serious right now? You put Tobey Maguire's first film under Homecoming?
Yeah.
Dude, we're not friends anymore. He was supposed to come over tomorrow, but we're not doing it anymore.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, well, get that. Okay, look.
Explain yourself.
Mainly is because, like...
Right now.
Honestly, like, Spider-Man is a good, like... It's one of the greatest entries, or one like basically like started the entire franchise of what we had. But just in regards to like of a movie, like it's not something I would rewatch like all the time as compared to the other ones.
You just blew my entire mind. I just want you to know that.
I'm sorry. It's just I don't know. It goes back to the point of
I need a boo button. I need to like boo that.
I'm sure a lot of people are gonna boo at me with that, but yeah, I don't know. It's just in regards to Spider-Man 1, like it's obviously the one that started the franchise, but it's not a movie that I would come back to. It's not the first movie I'm gonna come back to in regards to a Spider-Man movie. That's why it's at 8th. That's all. That's pretty much. And then Homecoming is the same thing because of the same reason that you have of the web slinging and all that. So like with those two movies, like Homecoming and Spider-Man 1, like Tobey Maguire's, those aren't like movies that I would like pick out. That's how I base it off of. Like just rip off the back. Like if I had all 8 of them, which one would I pick to like watch like the most? Spider-Man 1 and Homecoming is definitely like on the bottom 2 for me.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry,
guys. Well,
why don't you just give me your 6 then?
All right, my number 6, coming back from whatever that was The Amazing Spider-Man, the first of Andrew Garfield's films.
Okay.
I like it. I don't know. There was something stylistically.
Okay, I'll say this right now. That's mine too.
There was something stylistically off about it. I appreciated it, and I've actually come to appreciate it a lot. The first time I ever watched it, I didn't like it. There was something about it I just wasn't like. I did not like it, like, but I wasn't like head over heels for it.
I think it was mainly because it was a reboot, and we wanted Spider-Man 4.
It kind of felt, and like there was the whole subplot of like Peter was not an experiment, but like it was the thing with his parents being gone. Like it didn't feel. I don't know. I think the sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, is a much better film overall. Like overall, that movie feels more like a Spider-Man movie than The Amazing Spider-Man does for me.
Yeah.
And of course, it does feel like a Spider-Man movie. I don't mean it like that. But even the suit. I have a graphic here. The suit. I mean, look at that. It's such a darker. There was something like stylistically that was completely different for me. And I do like it. Like, I'm not saying I don't like it. It's a good film. It's grown on me a lot. But there was something about it that was just it was just different for me. Like, it just wasn't, it doesn't hit the same as some of the other entries in the franchise do.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like it. I think Andrew Garfield was great. It was a great first entry for him. I actually really liked the ending of that film when Captain Stacy dies and he says, just leave Gwen out of it. I honestly, the first half, I like the last half of that film way better than the first half. I think the first half drags a little bit. For me, again, I know there's some diehard Andrew Garfield fans out there, and I think he's great. I think he is not the issue at all. I think it's the movie itself. It's the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the scene where Gwen finds out when he like does the web at her and pulls her at him and they kiss like on her balcony or whatever. Like, that's a dope scene. The whole ending fight scene with the lizard is really cool. Captain Stacy dying is cool. It's great. It's a great movie. It really is. But it's compared to some of the other entries, it is a little bit further down on my list.
Yeah, it's the same for me. The only thing I like, again, like, yeah, it does drag for a little bit, and it definitely picks up in the second or the third act or the last act. And that movie definitely showed the love that New York had for Spider-Man, because that's pretty much like, it pretty much like solidified that fact that Spider-Man is only as powerful as much as New York loves him.
Yeah,
because the whole crane scene, it was beautiful. The way literally the NYPD was just like holding traffic, allowing Spider-Man to get to the lizard as quick as he could. Like, that right there was like, it was a great moment. It reminded me of the first Spider-Man movie where, like, it was Spider-Man and Green Goblin and he had a pick, and there was like that whole thing where, like, if you mess with Spider-Man, you mess with all of us, New York.
Yeah, like, I love that line. I love that.
It's like that love. Like, I love seeing that love that New York has for Spider-Man as compared to like the hate, so to speak.
Well, but if you remember though, I think my favorite story arc of that film is the fact that, like, Gwen even says at one point, she's like, my dad has 500 officers looking for you right now. Like, for the majority of that movie, they treat him like he's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it wasn't until
they're
at the
after
end.
him to arrest him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it wasn't until the end when New York decided to say, like, hey, like, the citizens were like, yes, Spider-Man is obviously a good guy. So I think that was like one of the most memorable moments of the movie. But other than that, I mean, it was just a subpar movie. And I remember when the movie like was like, when it was like advertised, when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember I was still off shock because they canceled Tobey Maguire's, no matter how much they were hinting at us in Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
That was the start of the crazy circle of what we went through before Homecoming.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of my thoughts on The Amazing Spider-Man. And I don't know about you. I really want to do commentaries for all the Spider-Man films. I think we want to start doing commentaries for other stuff. We always do commentaries for the movies we review, and that we discuss on Purely and Simply Evil, which is our like sister show. But we do want to start doing like other commentaries, and I think these would be a really cool place to start if you're down for that. So next on my list at number 5, Ba-do-da-da-doo-doo was Spider-Man 3 from 2007. Listen, I do not think Spider-Man 3 deserves the kind of hate that this movie gets. People treat this movie like it is garbage, like it is straight up garbage juice that you scraped off the bottom of like a dumpster. Like, and it's not at all. Like, it is not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
I would agree wholeheartedly. And mainly because, like, the Tobey Maguire you guys love so much in No Way Home is the Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
That's the one who went through stuff and battled and had already battled 3 enemies in the movie.
Yeah.
4 for that. Like, no, yeah, 3. Sorry, I'm stupid. But like 3 fucking enemies in a movie. He's the first one to do it, and that's the Tobey Maguire you all wanted back in No Way Home. Like, you guys wouldn't have cared for Tobey Maguire unless he went through Spider-Man 3. It's as simple as that. Spider-Man 3 is where he definitely matured or had already been matured and then corrupted and then came back to being Spider-Man again. Like, that's the Tobey you guys love.
Yeah.
And
there are things about that movie that are not good. Like some that's I think even the first Spider-Man from 2002, some of the dialogue is a little quirky because it's from 2002. In Spider-Man 3, some of the dialogue is kind of like, it's a little quirky. Like,
it's like when it's just memorable. The fuck, dude? It's no longer quirky. It's memorable. People, I don't know. There's so many memes about Bully Maguire that you can't hate the movie anymore.
Can you take that?
You can't. Yeah, you can't hate Spider-Man 3 and continuously meme Bully Maguire. You guys love Bully Maguire. Shut the fuck up if you guys don't, because he's great.
Remember, I just watched Spider-Man 3 this afternoon, and I don't know why, but like I had forgotten about it. But when Harry like gets his memory back, and it's like Bully Maguire versus Harry, bro. When Harry looks at him and when he's talking about kissing MJ or whatever, and Harry goes, "Ooh, strawberries." I'm like,
yeah, it was an odd movie.
I died when I saw. I had completely forgotten about that scene.
No,
the way he does it, he's like,
you talk about that scene. My favorite one is whenever Harry gets knocked down. When Harry gets knocked down, he was like, "I protect you in high school, and now I'm gonna kick your ass." And then and then Bully Maguire was like, "Ooh, like,
yeah," he goes,
"Fucking hilarious."
I like when they're sitting there fighting before he webs the grenade back at him, the pumpkin grenade, and
Little Goblin Jr.
He goes,
"You gonna cry?
Little Goblin Jr. Are you gonna cry?" And he's like laughing while he said, "It's just like some of the dialogue in that movie is weird. You know what I mean? It's a little campy. It's a
weird.
little.
It's weird, but it's memorable. That's the thing, though. It's memorable. Yeah. It's no longer bad. It's no longer bad writing. It's just like, dude, they really put that in there. That's great.
And I don't like Venom. I really don't. I think it's a terrible version of Venom. It's god awful.
Yeah, it's not good. It was, how can I put this?
See ya, chump.
Yeah, I would say Eddie Brock's version in Spider-Man 3 wasn't great, but if they had done the Venom suit more justice, Venom would probably have been really dope. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the way
honestly, it's not the look of Venom for me. For me, it's his voice. Like, I want Venom to sound like Venom, but it's just Topher Grace with like a voice changer. Like, he's just like, "You want the spider, I want the spider. Why don't we work together?" Or it's like, it's just so like, "I'm trying to convince you to do something.
Yeah,
this is my monotone shoplifter voice." Like, it's what? Like, come on.
I would agree. The thing that really got me was the fact that the Venom and Spider-Man 3 wasn't the reason why we love Venom is because it's Venom. It's not Eddie Brock. Like, it's Venom taking over Eddie Brock. And you don't hear Eddie only, like, it becomes like, because you know how like the new Venom movie is, when Eddie is Eddie, you hear Venom's voice in his head. But when Venom is Venom, it's Eddie.
There was no Venom. It was just Eddie with the suit on.
Yeah. And that one kind of sounded really weird because because the symbiote didn't really have a personality. The symbiote does have a personality because it is a symbiote. Venom is a symbiote. And in Spider-Man 3, you didn't get that. It was mainly just Topher Grace, Eddie Brock with a suit on. And that was kind of a turnoff. But I feel like if they would have put that there, if they would have actually made if they would have gave Toby the suit and he got Venom's voice in his head, that would have been dope. Yeah, they would have been kind of a dope little relationship that they had. But we didn't get that, and that's why Venom didn't really land as much. But it's still it's the same way as it's the same idea as Tobey Maguire having the organic web shooters. That was something that Tobey Maguire came up with during that movie, and it works. Everyone loved it. Everyone freaked out when Tobey Maguire showed his organic web shooters. That was a great scene. So I think that was their way of interpreting the Spider-Man comics, and that one didn't hit. That's what I'm saying. They try to make the Venom symbiote more animalistic instead of making it an actual character. So that's where it kind of that one didn't land. But I think that if they would have tweaked it a little bit more and made it more comic accurate, it would have been a great Venom. I would believe so.
Well, even at the point at the end of the movie where when Toby he puts all the metal poles in the ground and he's making the sound so that it falls off of him or whatever. He lets Eddie and he pulls Eddie out of the suit. But when it's just the symbiote, it's not acting like a being really. It's more like an animalistic even the sound it makes, it's just and it just makes a weird sound and I don't know. I wasn't wild about the incarnation of Venom, but I do love the ending fight scene when Harry comes and helps him beat Sandman. That comeback scene, I don't care what anybody says, when he lands in front of the American flag, that's one of the best comeback scenes of all time. It's great. There's some heavy stuff, the whole thing with him and MJ. I think their relationship is honestly her acting is peak in Spider-Man 3. And I don't think she was bad in Spider-Man 1 and 2. I don't think she was bad at all. I know some people do, and I don't really get that. But I think their relationship was really strong. Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman was really strong. I don't know. It doesn't deserve the hate it gets. So, it falls at number 5 for me. What's your number 5?
My number 5 was... It was Far From Home for me.
Boo. Yeah. Number 5 for Miguel is Spider-Man Far From Home. So what are your thoughts on Far From Home?
So pretty much what really pissed me off was the aspect of Far From Home. That was it.
Of being far from home, of being in Europe.
That was literally. Yeah, I was literally weirded by the fact that we left New York City, because that was whenever we were getting kind of sick of Tom Holland's Spider-Man just trying to be an Avenger.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really grasped the idea that he's just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He doesn't go up into space. That was cool, but moving on to a storyline, he should have stayed in New York. So whenever I found out he was going on the trip to Europe, I was like, oh fuck, here we go. But I'll say this: they did a great job with Mysterio.
They did.
I love how they made him. I love how they updated his version of his illusions. It's not like gases, but it's basically illusion tech, and that's pretty dope. I love the storyline that he had with Tony Stark, which pissed off with the Tony Stark campy stuff.
Miguel is over the Tony Stark.
But in regards to the whole story with Spider-Man, it's just that even before, now I have much respect for Homecoming and Far From Home after No Way Home, but still as a movie in itself, it's still not a movie that I would immediately grab and watch it automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, that's mainly I because need to rewatch the two of them, but
I've rewatched them plenty of times, and it just didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie to me. And I think it deals with Tom Waits trying to do a coming of age kind of theme for Peter Parker, which I don't know if you noticed that. Tom Waits was literally taking things from old 80s coming of age movies, and while that is good, it was tough. It's tough for me to watch those and see him come of age, because we got the most spread out origin story that we've ever seen. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
this was the longest origin story. Tom Holland Spider-Man had the longest origin story because we had 3 movies of it. 3 movies of his origin stories. 2 the Spider-Man that we all know we're gonna love. If you guys don't think so, fuck you. We're all gonna love this college year Spider-Man. Like, we're gonna love him. And it's because of the last 3 movies. And I think what Tom Waits did was brilliant. But in regards, it's like, I would only watch it if I were to watch like Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. That's the only time I would kind of watch it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where I would do it. I'd put it at 5, mainly because of that aspect.
I feel you. So for number 4 for me, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes in at number 4. So I really like this film. I actually think it's a very large step up from The Amazing Spider-Man Part 1. Not to say that Part 1 was bad, but I don't know. There's something that feels less like emo Spider-Man and more like actual Spider-Man in this. You know what I mean? Like, even look at the look, like that look compared to that look. Like, there's just something that feels more Spider-Man about it.
It's the eyes for me.
I would agree with that too. Yeah. I think The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has
The Amazing Spider-Man looked like a Power Ranger.
What?
In my head.
One? In which one?
Like The Amazing Spider-Man, like the first one, it looks like a Power Ranger to me.
Yeah.
Like, I could see it as like a Power Ranger, or like one of the villains, one of the minions that the Power Rangers have to fight. You know what I mean? Just it's because of the eyes and just how he looks. Like,
the eyes were yellow. The yellow eyes were a little strange, I must say. It was kind of strange. Yeah. But there are a lot of things I really like about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I really like the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of that movie are exceptional. It's one of the best openings and closings of any superhero movie of all time, in my opinion. I think I love the way that the swinging is done in those films, where it's like the alternating, like slow-mo, the trick shots kind of thing. It looks very like fast-paced, intercut with like slow motion shots. Like, I think the swinging is done very, very well. I love the opening and closing where it's like both Paul Giamatti, Rhino, and it's like you kind of get like the full circle type deal. This movie really kind of feels like he's struggling to balance Peter Parker and Spider-Man, which is a huge part of that character. I mean, look at Tobey's trilogy. Look at where we're at in Tom Holland's, storyline. I mean, like this, I don't know. There's something about Part 2 that just felt better, in my opinion.
Because Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is what everyone wanted to see in No Way Home. That's how I base it off of. Like, everyone freaked out because of Andrew Garfield coming into like the Doctor Strange circle thing, because of what happened in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because we all felt the emotions that Andrew Garfield had, and it's because of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is why people wanted Andrew Garfield back. And that's why I say it again with Tobey Maguire. People loved seeing Tobey Maguire because we fell in love with him in Spider-Man 3.
I was in love with him before that.
No, but understand this. Like, we wanted to see more after Spider-Man 3, and we didn't get that. We wanted to see more after The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but we didn't get that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like we fell in love with we fell in love with Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 2, and when we got Spider-Man 3, we didn't particularly like it as much as Spider-Man 2, but we wanted to see more, and we got hints of what's to come with like Carnage and whatever else was going to happen, and then we didn't get it, and it was rebooted. But then Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, we didn't particularly love it because it was a reboot, but then we ended up loving Andrew Garfield because of Amazing Spider-Man 2, because we saw the depth and the emotions of him.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see more, and with all the possibilities that was going to come with it. Because I remember when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, I was wanting to see a 3. I couldn't wait for a 3. But then there were talks of it being canceled. So I was upset with that. I was like, well, I guess we're never going to see a storyline of it again. So whenever it came to pass that No Way Home was coming, we got all these rumors of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Spider-Man. What answers? What we're going to see of what happened after Gwen Stacy? What happened after Eddie Brock and Venom with Tobey Maguire? Like those are the two storylines. Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 are the two movies that solidified us to wanting more.
Right. Well, and they
because
left
none
so
of us didn't want the series to end. Yeah. None of us. I can agree. Like after Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire's, we did not want it to end. We wanted it to keep going. After Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. After The Amazing Spider-Man, people are like, "Why did we get that? We want Tobey." But then when Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, we're like, we want more Andrew now.
Right.
And then they didn't give it
because you're acclimated and you've liked that. I get what you're saying. You've fallen in love with that character now.
Yeah.
In the same way that you've kind of fallen in love with Tobey's character. I agree with that.
And that's where I'm coming with. That's where I'll say the same with Tom Holland is. We didn't particularly like Tom Holland all that much when he came in with Homecoming. We liked him in Civil War because I mean he was about as Spider-Man. He was about the most Spider-Man you could think of at the time. But then with Homecoming, we got acclimated with him. We started understanding that he's trying to be Spider-Man. And then No Way Home happened where we saw the depth and emotions of him. Now he has his full-blown suit. And he did the grand, swinging around Times Square going after Wilson Fisk. So now we want to see more of Tom Holland because we all fell in love with Tom Holland. Like No Way Home is where we fell in love with Tom Holland. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is where we fell in love with Andrew Garfield. And Spider-Man 3 is where we felt more in love with where we solidified where we loved Tobey Maguire.
So. Yeah, I completely agree with that. So what was your number 4 spot? What was your number 4?
Oh, Spider-Man 3. I put that up there. Yeah.
Yes. So we kind of talked about Spider-Man 3. Was there anything that anything else that you wanted to touch on for Spider-Man 3?
I would say what I loved the most of it was him getting the symbiote. That whole scene wherever he's sleeping and he's getting all those dreams of
it's a great scene.
Of Thomas Hayden and all of a sudden he gets consumed by the symbiote and then all of a sudden he wakes up and he's like, where am I? And then you hear the one, like without a doubt, one of the most impactful score in Marvel Cinematic history is Tobey Maguire's Tobey Maguire's symbiote skin. Like, and just seeing like that moment right there was my favorite in regards to Tobey Maguire's swinging, because we all know due to like the technology at the time, you couldn't make Tobey Maguire's swinging look any more grand than what it was there. You know what I mean?
I have a hot take on this. I actually think Tobey swinging is my favorite. It looks more
I can
epic.
tell you why.
It has more of an epic look than either Andrew or Tom's does. Andrew's is more of a fast-paced, like I said, like a trick shot kind of thing. Tom's is more kind of along the same lines, like where he's texting and swinging and all that stuff. Like it's kind of the same lines, but Tobey's is like epic. Like it almost makes you like want to tear up a little bit, like when you see him swinging, like at the end of the first 2 films, or like I mean, it's just almost like. You sit back and watch a scene of Tobey swinging through buildings and you're like, wow. Like, it makes you feel like you're watching something really epic and really big. So, yeah.
I would say the same. And I agree with you. That's the best way I can describe Tobey Maguire's swinging is the fact that it's more like superhero-esque. Like this is a superhero. This is our New York superhero. Like this is like Superman flying. It's like Man of Steel's like him learning how to fly.
Yeah.
Like that's the same as Tobey Maguire's. It's just epic and it's grand and it's like these wide swings. It's like I'm Spider-Man and I'm here to stay pretty much. And you know, like in the first Spider-Man, it was like, who am I? Blah, 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 blah. Great power comes. That whole narration Tobey Maguire did, like that made it more epic. And then with Andrew Garfield, it was more like freeing kind of way. It was like more fluid. Like they had the technology to show how much agility Spider-Man has.
Yes, he's very agile. It's very tactical. You know?
And then with Tom Holland, it was very how can I put this? It was very very young, so to speak. Like he's a young kid who's just swinging through town. So like he's just as like he's just trying to have fun. He loves swinging as much as he can. So whenever you see him swinging, it's very freeing, very uncaring, so to speak. Like he's just trying to have some fun while swinging around. So that's pretty much it. So which is why I'm excited to see how Tom Holland does the swing, because you saw in the suit that he took aspects of what he saw with Andrew Garfield's suit and Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire's suit. Like he took Andrew Garfield's suit,
I didn't even think about it that way,
and created what we now know as the comic accurate suit. Yeah. Which this phase is pretty much make every character comic accurate now.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much. So that's how I would go. That's why I put Spider-Man 3 as so the reason why I put Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 as number 4 is because of the symbiote, the anger that we got from, because we got the symbiote, we got Spider-Man, black suit Spider-Man, and just seeing the anger that he had while wearing the suit.
Yeah.
Not bully Maguire, but like as Spider-Man, like the angry aspect that he has in it when he was fighting Sandman, like that's insane. Like that's how I would expect Andrew Garfield to be acting after Gwen Stacy.
After Gwen,
yeah. So whenever he said, "I stopped pulling my punches, I became rageful, bitter."
Well, that was his big emotional event, though. You know.
Yeah.
That was Toby's biggest emotional. Uncle Ben was his which I guess you could say that for Andrew too. But like Uncle Ben was his big recurring motivation to be Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and
you'll
but
get
Andrew
your
Garfield,
rent when you fix this damn door.
And Andrew's was pretty much Gwen Stacy. I would say that Andrew's reason to be Spider-Man is because of Gwen Stacy. Not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily Uncle Ben. The Uncle Ben death in the Amazing Spider-Man was just like, okay, here's your origin story. That's it.
Well, I think it was at first, though. At first, it was because of Uncle Ben. But like, I think the whole point of that final scene when he says to the kid, like, "Thanks for filling in for me," or whatever. Like, I feel like he loses his desire to be Spider-Man, and when she dies, like he kind of like gets that.
He finally hears the speech.
She would want me to like keep going, you know what I mean, and keep doing what I know is right. So yeah, man, it's great. They're all great. It's really hard to rank this because they're all great.
So like so when you hear our last like 3 or 4
or
like,
top 3,
it's gonna be hard to like describe what we like more from the other. We just enjoying them at this point
for sure. So top 3, man. For me, my number 3 spot is Spider-Man from 2002. The very first one.
Like an asshole now.
I put that as number 3. Miguel put it as number 8 if you're just joining us, whatever. But yeah, man, this is the original. This is what started it all. I mean, this is the movie that got us on this train. I think it's the best version of his origin story. I love the whole. It feels comic booky. You know what I mean? But in a good way. Like I don't say that like in a negative way. Like it feels comic book-ish. Like he's a complete nerd. Harry is his only real friend. MJ is literally the girl next door. She's with the hotter guy. She's with the hotter friends and the hotter car. She's just a step above him. I love the way he becomes Spider-Man. The Uncle Ben thing hits hard. Like it's the ultimate Spider-Man / superhero origin story for me.
Yeah. I get that. It's definitely one of the better origin stories of a superhero. I could agree that. Is there anything else like you love about it? Because I mean, honestly, for me, like it's hard. You like even now, like I'm still pretty firm on my 8th spot for it because you're
a douche for that.
Yeah,
whatever.
Oh well.
Well, like I mean, honestly, I think Willem Dafoe did a great job, and I thought Willem Dafoe was incredible until I saw him in No Way Home, and then I was like, damn, I was like, that man outdid himself, like for real, he really did. But I thought he did a great job. I mean, and again, some of the dialogue doesn't. It's a little campy for these days.
Yeah,
for where we
that's
are.
what I kind of got with
But
it.
at the time, it wasn't though. At the time, it was great. It made sense. It was 2002. You know what I mean? That was its own. I mean, we're society. Pop culture is kind of in a different place than it was, obviously, than it was in 2002. So it made sense at the time, and it wasn't campy. It was great. I mean, it was fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It really is. It's spectacular.
There was a video that I saw, I think the other day, and it was of Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and it was a scene where like MJ she slipped on a carton of milk, which by the way, fuck you janitors at that high school. But yeah, and she slips and she's about to fall, but when she falls, it goes to the Spider-Man 3 where Bully Maguire pushes her down. So she falls and it keeps Tobey Maguire just eating in the cafeteria. And
that's pretty funny.
The title of it says Spider-Man ain't no simp.
That's pretty funny.
So I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, we got Bully Maguire in the first movie. That's great.
That's pretty good. I like that. So what was your number 3 spot?
My number 3 was I should already know that. Spider-Man 2.
I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Okay. But my main reason for it is it's in the top 3. Like Spider-Man 3 is definitely one of the greatest. Like Spider-Man 2.
Which one you're missing?
Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of the greatest superhero movies out there. But in regards to the storyline, like I liked it a lot. I love the fact that we got Tobey Maguire like trying to like live as Spider-Man. Like he's down on his luck, he's out of a job, he can't pay rent still, and he's having troubles with MJ because she's out there hoeing around and she's trying to live her dream or whatever bullshit. But when it came down to like Spider-Man like losing his like powers, I think that was something that was really interesting to me, was he got that spider block, so to speak. So I love that because it was basically him like having an existential crisis, which is something, I'm sure all of us at this age already have now. Yeah. So we kind of understand where he's coming from.
I'm going to go ahead and hop in on this conversation because the last two really put me for a tailwind. I didn't know whether I wanted No Way Home or Spider-Man 2 to be number 1 for me. Depending on the day, I might say No Way Home, I might say Spider-Man 2. I'm just going to finish mine out. Number 2, I had Spider-Man 2 from 2004. And in the first spot, I had No Way Home. Now, the reason that I put Spider-Man 2 in second place, No Way Home feels like the culmination of everything we just talked about. Everything. Now, I think there's more story to be told on all fronts, on all 3 of their fronts. But honestly, if you're asking me which is the better standalone movie, No Way Home is it number 1 because it's like an Endgame or an Infinity War. It's a culmination. But if we're talking about what is the better Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, hands down. It's got the best Peter Parker stories. Peter Parker is not at like a good point. Like he's really, and this is something that No Way Home and Spider-Man 2 both equally shared. Like Peter Parker, and of course it's in different ways, but Peter Parker is struggling because he's Spider-Man. Like neither one of them is to their full potential because of the other. You know what I mean? Peter's love life is failing. Mr. Aziz fired him from the pizza place because he couldn't make it on time. Like, he's failing Dr. Connor's class. His relationships are failing. MJ is failing. Like everything is failing, but he's also not being like the best Spider-Man he can be, which is what leads to his existential crisis, when he like doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore and he loses his powers. But like, I don't know, that movie is, it is amazing all the way around. I mean, like that's one of the few movies, like that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
It is. I mean, everything from the fight scenes with Doc Ock. I think he made a great villain. I think the love story was great. It was emotional. There was payoff there. You know what I mean? Like even from Homecoming to Far From Home, and even from the Amazing Spider-Man to the Amazing Spider-Man 2, it didn't feel like there was as much payoff. But you have to admit, from Toby 1 to Toby 2 to Toby 3, every movie felt like payoff of the last one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I really felt that payoff. I felt that in their relationship. I forgot to put my graphic up. I felt that in the villain. Doc Ock was an incredible villain. He was definitely a more experienced Spider-Man in this version. I actually I really liked the Mary Jane aspect of this one as well. I thought it was really well done. Their relationship, her being with the great John Jameson, my son, the astronaut.
Oh, okay.
You know,
yeah.
I don't know. I it's an amazing movie, man. It truly is. It sets up the Harry thing when Harry finds out at the end that Peter is Spider-Man. Like, there's just it's great. It's great. It's an incredible film, and it's got one of the best movie fight scenes of all time on the train.
With Doc Ock and
that
Spider-Man.
train fight scene is on point.
Fucking mint. Yeah.
So while we're at it, what were your top two?
So my top two and number one is going to be Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 2 and No Way Home at 1.
I dig them.
And the reason why is because I had much more of an emotional connection with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 than I did with like any other. And No Way Home is, pretty much like the end game. And I agree with you in that aspect. Do what?
Why is that with the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Because I loved Gwen Stacy more than I fucking loved Mary Jane. The fuck?
Dude, I'm a Mary Jane guy.
Nah, fam.
I'm a Mary Jane guy.
Fuck. Okay, Kristen Dunst did a great job as Mary Jane, but the whole relationship with like Peter Parker and the Maguire trilogy, it was just fucking stupid. She's pretty much the reason why he had that existential crisis, being with the fucking astronaut. Yeah, I'd lose my powers too. Like, the fuck? Like, she chose an astronaut over fucking Spider-Man at the time. I was like, yeah, I'd lose my power as well. I wouldn't want to be Spider-Man at that point. But with Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, you see the relationship that Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker had, and just Gwen Stacy is just much better of a partner to Peter Parker than MJ, honestly. And I know, like, in No Way Home, they're like saying like, oh, she was my MJ or whatever, blah 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 blah. But Gwen Stacy's just fucking dope. She's smart. She helped him in like almost every single fight he's had. Like, it's dope. And also, I knew how the comics were gonna go, so I was just waiting for the moment. They were hinting to her death so much. Even in Amazing Spider-Man 1, they hinted at her death. Yeah. So like, we all, like, if you were comic readers, you knew what was to come. So that was both. It was a bittersweet payoff. Her death.
See, I didn't think they would actually go there.
I
really didn't. The first time I saw it, I was like,
when I saw,
I was like, there's no way.
When I saw Harry and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 become the Green Goblin, I was like, oh, here we go. After he took down Electro and Harry just came down, I was like, oh boy, here we go. I was like, the Green Goblin? But I was like, oh shit, the Green Goblin. Here we go. So like, that's pretty much like, I was like, ill. But
you're sitting in the movie theater and you're like, ooh, the Green Goblin.
But yeah. I knew it was gonna happen. As soon as he picked up Gwen Stacy, I was like, here we go. So that was a very tough. That's something everybody in that's in love with Spider-Man. That's the scene that everyone brings up in regards to most tragic death. It's not Ben Parker. It's not Marissa Tomei's Aunt May still. It's Gwen Stacy, because Gwen Stacy is probably one of the most tragic death Peter Parker has experienced.
You know what's sad is he didn't really get a goodbye. It was sudden. Like, he was in the middle of trying to save her when she died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no goodbye. There was no final scene together. It was just, it wasn't like an Aunt May dying.
Well, they looked at each other.
Bro.
Like, the worst part what I saw was it was Gwen Stacy pretty much accepting her death. Like, you could see it. You could see like, as she closed her eyes, as she's falling, you were like, yep, this is it. She's not like, Sony's not going to change that storyline. As soon as I saw the way Emma Stone was as she was falling, I was like, they're not changing the storyline. They're going full throttle. She's going to die right here.
You know, it's kind of funny you say that because or that we were just talking about that because Aunt May at least got with great power comes great responsibility. They had a final scene. Gwen Stacy didn't have a final scene with Andrew. Bro, James Franco dies for 20 minutes at the end of Spider-Man 3. Literally,
right?
like Venom stabs him with the glider, and then he throws him, and Harry falls down the elevator shaft. MJ runs down. Peter continues to fight Venom for 10 minutes. He does all the pulls. He gets the Venom suit off. He throws the pumpkin grenade and blows him up. And then he has the whole conversation with Sandman where he's like, I was just trying to help my daughter. I'm not a bad person. I just had bad luck. And he says, I forgive you. All of that happens. And then Peter finally swings down and MJ's sitting there and Harry's like, I waited for you. He's like, I waited to die just for this moment. It's bro, you've been dying for 15 minutes. How?
That's what made it so. That's what made it so emotional. Was because it was.
But it was
quick.
Emotional though. I gotta say that scene. I'm not gonna lie. Watching it today, it's a little misty eyed. It's a little it kind of hits different. The sunset or the sunrise with when he dies. It's.
Yeah, it hits hard, but it was a fact. It was a fact that we knew what was happening with Gwen Stacy, so we were hoping to have some type of dialogue with that, but no, we didn't get that. It was just rip that Band-Aid off and suffer, Peter. It was pretty much
it really was, dude. It was a rip the Band-Aid off moment. Yeah. It was just we're not going to hold out. It's just we're just going for it. So, just to recap, for Miguel, my number 2 was Spider-Man 2 from 2004. Miguel's number 2 was The Amazing Spider-Man from 2014. And in number 1 for both of us, we had Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's a terrible poster, dude. Why'd you pick that?
I don't know. It's not a terrible poster. It's decent.
You could have picked the one where he was sitting on the balcony watching the fucking Times Square. That one's emotional. A lot of people.
The No Way Home poster? This one?
No, yeah,
Are
that
you
one.
About
I'm talking about the No Way Home poster. You could have put the you could have put the one where it was Tom Holland's Peter Parker sitting on a balcony, he's watching Times Square.
I couldn't find
a lot of people.
It would have been.
Oh, okay, I get that. But that one right there, a lot of people didn't understand why that was there, but we knew why it was there when the movie was going. We were like, fuck, and we know what was going on there. So, I would say I would agree with No Way Home, just to just to explain my number 1 a little bit, was the fact that it wasn't Endgame. We got everything that we wanted to see from Tobey Maguire 2, from Tobey Maguire's franchise and Andrew Garfield's franchise. We got that. We got what we wanted. Yeah. Let's be honest. We got what we wanted. And in wanting more too. And then we got to see Tom Holland just grow up more. We got the Spider-Man that we all wanted over the past 3 franchises. We finally got him. Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed this. Question: do you think we're getting the PS4 Spider-Man from Tom Holland?
What are you talking about?
Is the Tom Holland we're gonna see, and when the Spider-Man that we're gonna see with Tom Holland, do you think it's gonna be similar to the PS4 Spider-Man?
I think it'll be similar. I don't think it'll be exactly the same, but I think
I think similar. I think there'll be similarities. I would love that. Honestly, I'd go for that.
Yeah, there'll be similarities, but it won't be 100% similar. But I mean, to kind of wrap the whole thing up, it's cool because you have 3 different timelines. You have the Raimi trilogy, the Amazing trilogy, and Tom's trilogy in the MCU, and it's they all intertwined and came to a point at No Way Home. But No Way Home is the springboard, into whatever else is to come through the Multiverse of Madness storyline, through the Multiverse saga, and whatever is coming. So, that's our ranking. That's our discussion on the multiverse. Almost a 2-hour show. We're so glad to be back. And please, if you are watching after the fact, be sure to leave this video a like. Consider subscribing to our channel. We do 2 shows here. This show, which is called Let's Talk Movies. And we also do a sister show. I don't know what just happened here.
That's our sister show, guys.
Where did that come from? The Amazing Spider-Man. That's our sister show. But we do a sister show called Purely and Simply Evil, and that's just a horror-based show where we go back and revisit classic horror films from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, but that's going to do it for us for our 55th episode. We talked about a whole lot of things. Again, be sure to leave us a like, consider subscribing to our channel, and let us know what your live-action Spider-Man ranking is. Let us know your Spider-Man ranking in general. Do you include the Venom films? Do you include the Into the Spider-Verse film? Let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know, who do you want to see show up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? There's so many options. Like I said, every burner is on right now. We just don't know what's cooking yet. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. But the possibilities are endless. That's the good thing about this, is literally the possibilities are completely endless of where this saga can go. The sky is the limit. Like, literally, the sky is the limit for this next phase in Marvel history. So please be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. We do new episodes of our shows every Monday night at 8 p.m. and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. That is different. It's a little bit of a change from our previous schedule. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and be sure to follow us on all of the podcast platforms as well. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're in audio form there. So, guys, take it easy. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
See ya.